Hello and welcome. Today we're revisiting the Online Safety Amendment Social Media Minimum Age Bill 2024, a piece of legislation that threatens not only our privacy and freedoms, but also the integrity of Australia's democratic processes. If you missed my earlier discussion, here's a quick recap. This bill introduces mandatory age verification for all Australians to access social media platforms. At first glance, it seems aimed at protecting young people online, but the reality is far more concerning. Here's what's at stake. Mandatory real ID linking. This bill forces Australians to connect their real identities to online accounts, effectively eliminating anonymity. Digital ID backdoor. This paves the way for digital ID, a policy Australians have already rejected. Text integration or trust exchange integration. The government is working with Google on a project called Trust Exchange, or TEX, which could combine digital ID with banking, social media, and other systems. These measures create a dangerous framework where political opposition and dissent could systematically be suppressed. We've already explored how big tech tools such as search result manipulation, content suppression, and targeted amplification could be weaponized against opposing parties. Search manipulation, just to recap, opposition policies could be buried under government-approved narratives. Content suppression, critical posts might be deranked, shadow banned, or outright removed. Amplification of government messages. The government's messaging could dominate feeds and trending lists, creating a false sense of universal support, but that's just the start. This bill goes even further, and today I want to highlight additional aspects that demand our urgent attention. Let's begin with Section 63D and 63F, which establishes intrusive surveillance systems. Platforms must verify users' ages, requiring them to collect and store sensitive identity data. Data can be shared with third-party services, creating centralized databases that link online accounts to real-world identities. Government access to this data is also permitted, opening the door to overreach and misuse. Imagine every online interaction, every like, every comment, every share, being tied directly to your personal identity. That's the kind of infrastructure this bill is creating. Section 63C grants the minister sweeping authority to expand the scope of the bill without parliamentary oversight. The definition of age-restricted social media platforms can be broadened to include nearly any interactive site. Additional data collection requirements can be imposed without new legislation, and this sets a dangerous precedent enabling unchecked power and little accountability. Sections 27.1 QA and 27.1 QB hand the Commissioner broad enforcement powers, including the ability to impose penalties up to $49.5 million on non-compliant platforms. Private companies forced to use their money, their time, their resources for the government. This creates a coercive environment where platforms are compelled to implement intrusive surveillance measures to avoid fines. And in most places, they can't do it. The lack of oversight undermines democratic processes and checks and balances. So though this bill is framed as child protection, its framework could easily be expanded to target adults. With its broad powers, the government could use this infrastructure for behavior tracking, profiling users based on online activity, movement control, using location data for population surveillance, information control, restricting access to platforms and content. This isn't just about protecting kids. It's about consolidating power in a way that risks eroding our fundamental freedoms and rights. So here's the bottom line. The Online Safety Amendment Bill isn't just about online safety, it's about control. If passed, the legislation will create a dangerous precedent that no democracy can afford to tolerate. And I urge all Australians, and especially our opposition leaders, to speak out against this bill. Do not pass it. Demand transparency on the Trust Exchange project and its connection to digital ID. Advocate for amendments that prioritise privacy, accountable and democratic oversight. As it is, it's a bad bill. It's an evil bill. It's a wrong bill. This is a critical moment for our nation. You may not know it, but every person in tech damn well does. Together, we must protect privacy, defend free speech, and preserve the integrity of our democracy. Thank you for watching. Look at the notes below for 5-minute explainers on the impact of the bill. I'll put up template letters from Citizen Party and Free Speech Union, also some of my own. I remind you, contact the senators. There's no point in contacting Labor. They will bulldoze us through the House of Representatives. They have no choice. All of them have to do as they're told. They all have to vote the same way. Remind the senators, particularly those up for re-election, that you will not give them your vote if they betray Australian citizens. There are better ways to protect kids online. There really is. And this bill will not achieve that protection. So if you found this bill to be a video to be helpful, please share it widely. Reach out to your senators. You have to do it today. Tomorrow they make the call. Today. This was only tabled on the 21st of November, and they're making a decision on the 26th. This complex, dangerous bill. So let's ensure this bill gets the scrutiny it deserves and put an end to it. Thank you very much. Bye.